this week's instalment, when he's not going spotty over some Dalmatians, this actor enjoys a good fry with some Worcester sauce before showing his Stuart Little to Peter's friends, who'd much rather see his Blackadder. It's not lupus, but it is Hugh Laurie up in this house. That is tonight's Hollywood Swingers.
That professional introduction means it's time for our favourite segment of the show, Hollywood Swingers, where we celebrate those Hollywood movie stars who've swung into music this week. It is he a Hollywood star?
Yeah.
Okay, this week it's Hugh Laurie, who apparently is a Hollywood movie star.
You'll hear about it. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be movie.
Oh, okay. So he just lives near Beverly Hills?
Well, James Hugh Callum Laurie, born 11th of June 1959, it was a Thursday, in Oxford, England, to Mother Patricia and Father William, who was a physician who was also the winner of a gold medal for rowing at the 1948 Olympic Games.
Could you have described a more posh English upbringing?
Yeah, it's not doing much. We're not getting into that again this week. Now, Laurie says that his parents lived a very Presbyterian life. I think they were actually Scottish descendant.
Oh, right.
And as a result, his house wasn't exactly a place where fun and humour were encouraged. Now, the actor attended the prestigious Dragon School in Oxford, which isn't anywhere near as exciting as it should sound.
Dragons.
Before going to Eton, which Laurie described as the most private of private schools. I'm not helping my case here. He wasn't particularly bookish, though, and he spent most of his time smoking and cheating on tests. Now, attending Cambridge, as was the family tradition, Laurie also followed in his father's footsteps, or strokes perhaps, by also taking up rowing.
Oh.
And Laurie went on to win a British national title and took part in the Oxford and Cambridge boat race.
My dad hates that. He's like, it's only two people competing against each other. It's rubbish.
The boat race?
Get other people involved, he says.
There's loads of them in the boat.
Yeah, no, but get other schools involved.
That'd be too many boats.
No, get all the schools involved.
I think they do it in quite a small,
Cambridge,
shallow...
Oxford, and then have a raffle with a state school who can row to come in.
But they'll get bashed.
You don't know that. It might be amazing. It might be the next Cool Runnings, but it'll be like water weddings.
There's a film in that, by the way. Don't steal that idea. We need to copyright that right now.
Trademark. Water weddings. Working title.
Now, it looked like Laurie was on course to also become an Olympic level rower, but the actor would be forced to abandon this due to a bout of glandular fever.
Oh no.
Instead, Laurie joined the famous Cambridge Footlights Dramatic Club, where he would meet and briefly romance a young Emma Thompson, who went on to introduce him to his future comedy partner Stephen Fry.
Cool.
Yeah. The gang took their annual review to the Edinburgh Fringe, where they won the first Perrier Comedy Award.
Of course they took. Of course they won the Perrier Comedy Award.
They won the very first one. Other comedy awards named after water might be available.
It's none. It's not called the Perrier anymore.
But I'm talking about at the time. And the success led to Laurie being selected alongside his pals and the likes of Robbie Coltrane and Ben Elton to do 2 series of a sketch show called Alfresco.
Very cool.
Laurie would then team up with his pal Fry on a number of projects, including the Blackadder series. They had their own BBC sketch show.
What do you think, a bit of Fry and Laurie, what do you think of Blackadder? Do you think it's funny? Because I think it's the funniest.
Blackadder's great because it's clever and stupid at the same time.
And that's the best kind of comedy.
Yeah, it takes a big skill to be clever and really stupid.
Okay.
They also played the pair of Jeeves and Wooster in the BAFTA-winning series of the same name. Now, the actor would also start making moves into the movies with supporting roles in the likes of the 101 Dalmatians live-action remake. He was in Spice World. He was in The Borrowers. He had a part in The Man...
He was in The Borrowers?
Yeah, The Borrowers, yeah.
No, The Borrowers.
Borrowers, yeah.
Yeah.
He was in The Man in the Iron Mask. That terrible Leonardo DiCaprio
I slated
movie.
that film when I was 10 on the Disney Channel.
As well as a 1998, we'll get back to that, appearance in an episode of The Bill. What did you say on the Disney Channel?
The man was like, oh, do you like Leonardo DiCaprio? And I was like, no, he's rubbish. He's always in olden day films and I don't like him. It's like that man in the Iron Mask was rubbish, rotten. It was 10 in dungarees holding a gnome. It was great.
Now, a starring role in the 1999 family movie Stuart Little and its 2002 sequel led to another role in the 2004 Dennis Quaid remake
Why
of Flight of the Phoenix.
Mouse not being scientifically tested.
Well, there was other animals that could speak as well.
Not that many. Some animals were pets and they were still eating meat in that universe. I've watched that film a couple of times. Super creepy, Paul.
It was cute and it's hard to dissect cute.
You shouldn't dissect cute. It's upsetting. But it was a very weird... I don't understand how it worked as a film.
Anyway, during filming of Flight of the Phoenix in Namibia, Laurie filmed an audition tape for a new Fox television drama series. But he had to do it in the toilet of his hotel room, as it was the only place with enough light.
Very cool.
He put on an American accent for the tape, and when it was screened for the producers, they picked it out, having no idea who he was, and said, "Now this is the compelling American actor we've been looking for."
And he's not even American.
Not even American. The show, of course, was the medical drama House,
which was Sherlock Holmes but with medicine.
Yep, Laurie winning the role of a sarcastic, damaged and drug-addicted genius, Dr. Gregory House, like you say, based on the character of Sherlock Holmes.
I think that when back in the day when we watched it, he was sarcastic and just a hard edge. Now you look back on it and he's just toxic and lots of red flags.
But the show did mention that quite a lot, that he was literally a horrible person.
I loved House. I watched every episode of it. Then many years later, I went back and watched it all from the beginning and went, no, this is terrible. This is awful.
Well, at the time, it was a massive departure for Hugh Laurie, who audiences in the UK had seen as the kind of likeable clown.
Goofy posh boy.
For 2 decades.
Yeah.
And then he gets on the show, which was a massive hit. By 2008, it became the most watched television programme in the world.
Yes.
Laurie would eventually earn a Guinness World Record as the most watched male lead on television. He would win 2 Golden Globes. He had a whole host of nominations across the 8 seasons that the show ran. If that doesn't make you a Hollywood swinger, being basically the biggest television star in the world.
But when I say the intro, I say this is the segment where we celebrate those Hollywood movie stars who have swung into music, not Hollywood TV stars.
You need to just change your thing, and also I just kind of want to keep this feature going, so shut up.
Do you know what I like most about House? Is it was always like gave a shout out to people with rare diseases. Like my dad has sarcoidosis and it never gets a shout out anywhere, and then it was like on House about 7 times. Whenever they said sarcoidosis, he was like, yes! And he'd get so excited. So it's a fun thing for that.
So it finished up in 2012 and Laurie took a 3-year break from acting. But he did return. He had a starring kind of recurring role in Veep.
Oh yeah, that's good.
He won another Golden Globe for the miniseries The Night Manager. And then he tried to get another Doctor TV show off the ground with a show called Chance, where he played a kind of psychologist called Dr. Eldon Chance.
I watched the pilot for that. I liked it.
Well, it was cancelled after 2 series.
Yeah. Of course.
Not to worry though, you can still catch Hugh Laurie. He's starring in another Armando Iannucci show. He's in the sci-fi comedy series Avenue 5, and there's plans for a 3rd season to come. So there you are. I think that's a valid Hollywood swinger. He's been in plenty of Hollywood films.
Swinger. He seems like a nice guy. He doesn't really have any like bad.
Nah, there's no skeletons in the closet, which is always hard for swingers because you're like, where's the goss? Where's the juicy bits? He doesn't really have anybody. He just seems like a really nice guy.
House was a very juicy character with a lot of bad baggage, but Hugh Laurie seems to be just.
It's probably easy for a nice person to play because they don't project any of their own baggage into it.
I think you're probably right.
He is a clean slate, a totally clean palette that he can just project all that other badness into and not feel.
I remember he was in one of those weird grown-up films. You know, like the films where it's adults with adult problems and it's always really boring and it's just people in big houses moaning about their big house life. And he was in one of them where he was having an affair with his best friend's daughter. And I remember...
Oh, yes.
Vaguely being interested for the first 45 minutes and then getting deeply bored because Hugh Laurie, do you know one thing he's really bad at? What? On-screen kissing. It's awkward and it makes me feel awkward watching him.
You can relate because you are a comedian who has also acted. Could you do an on-screen kiss?
I think I could do it if I took a lot of beta blockers beforehand because... When I take my anti-anxiety medicine, I think that would be all right. Or if we did like the old-fashioned, like black and white film kissing, where you just kind of put your faces really close together and then use your heads to cover each other's heads.
You've got to remember, but like camera lenses were covered in Vaseline back in the day. You never saw anything. Everything's now in 4K Super HD.
Yeah.
You would see the fact that it was just cheeks touching cheeks.
Sometimes that's enough.
You're telling me. Now to tonight's song, and it turns out that Mr. Hugh Laurie is actually a bit of a musical whiz. He's able to play a host of instruments, and he's actually released 2 blues albums in the early 2010s that reached number 2 and number 3 respectively in the UK album charts.
Oh!
And we go to the actor's debut album called Let Them Talk, and here's a jaunty little number that might have the actor saying, "You might think you know a lot about me after this whole spiel, but you don't know my mind."
Walking down the levee with my head hanging low, looking for my mama, but she ain't here no more. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, I'm laughing just to keep from crying. She won't cook my dinner, won't wash my clothes, won't do nothing but walk the road. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, laughing just to keep from crying. Breakfast on the table and my coffee's getting cold. Mama's in the kitchen getting sweet Papa told. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, laughing just to keep from crying. Sometimes I think my baby's too good to die. Sometimes I think she should be buried alive. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, I'm laughing just to keep from crying. I wish I had a nickel, I wish I had a dime, I wish I hadn't given myself a bad woman's time. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, laughing just to keep from crying. Your mama, see what you gone and done. You got my money, now you broke and run. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, laughing just to keep from crying. You made me get mad and you made me get sad. The going gets tougher than you ain't never had. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, laughing just to keep from crying. When you see me laughing, laughing just to keep from crying.
That was our Hollywood swinger, Hugh Laurie. And for those of you who've just tuned in, Hollywood Swinger is the segment of the show where we celebrate those Hollywood movie and television stars who have swung into music. Hugh Laurie...
Well, he was in Hollywood movies as well.
Not big ones.
Stuart Little 1 and 2 were big enough. He was in 101 Dalmatians, Disney movie.
that was
with
not
Glenn Close.
that was not a good live action. That was before
Doesn't
Jon
matter. We're
Favreau
not
taught
judging-
people
we're
how
not
to do live
judging-
action.
We're not judging the quality of it.
Okay, fine. So that was Hugh Laurie. Here in the Ashley Storrie Show, we rank our Hollywood swingers on a scale of 1 to 100 Kenny Rogers roasters. Kenny Roger, who was in actual films, being the standard bearer of Hollywood swinging.
I think Hugh Laurie's the Stuart Little films probably did more business than the Gambler movies.
Right, okay, if we're talking about who's done more business, then like Trolls is the best film in the world because that's done more business than any of the films, but we're not, and they're not, so we're not.
You have very little knowledge of the box office. That is the example that you've went to.
I feel like I'm always seeing children talking about the Troll films.
Nobody talks about the Troll films, and I've seen both of them.
I'm sure there's always Anna Kendrick and Justin Timberlake talking about Trolls. All the
Of course
time.
they're in it. That's why.
Well, they're doing great PR because it seems to me that it's everywhere.
You should just stop watching videos of Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick.
I don't like either of them. Jim in Netherley says Hugh was a very clear speaker. He was an articulated Laurie. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Get in touch with us via text 80295. I forgot all of my numbers. They just fell out of my head there on the floor. 80295. Let us know your score for Hugh Laurie, our Hollywood swinger. Davy Hepburn in Aberdeen gives him 100 Kenny Rogers roasters. Paul, I haven't even done our roasters. What's your score for him? I didn't like it. It sounded like Mungo Jerry. It sounded like a sad carnival version of Mungo Jerry. So I'm going to give it like 7.
That seems like you're judging the song and not his abilities.
I feel like I don't like Hugh Laurie. I don't know why, but I've taken against him, and I'm sticking with my 7. What's your score?
Why don't you like him, Ashley?
I don't know.
Is it anything to do with his background?
What? In rowing? I don't have any issue with people who work on the water, Paul. No, it's mainly because he does awkward TV kisses that make my wee autistic brain go, no, and then I have to shut my eyes.
Listen, if awkward kisses sent you, never mind. I think, do you know what? He plays a mean piano, and he seems to be able to play a lot of other instruments, and he obviously likes that blues New Orleans sound that encapsulated it. I think it's a 70.
70?
And that's only but I've got to admit I don't like his voice. But he sang the song and he held the notes and he played the tune and he did everything that you'll see it in the scores that's coming in.
Okay, my own personal issues aside, right? Take away my dislike of Hugh Laurie. It was dirgy, it was carnival-y, I didn't
That's
like
because you
it.
don't like the song, you were judging him.
Well, I didn't like him in the song, Paul. Do you know what? 1 Kenny Roger roaster. You've just lost your pal 6 points there, Paul. Hope you're happy. We've got a message here from Craig and Sharon. Full 100 Kenny Rogers roasters for Hugh from us, even though we're wondering if he is an actor stroke musician. Also, he did loads of funny tunes on a bit of Fry and Laurie. Mystery is worth a look on YouTube.
Right, so there you go. We've had 2 scores in, both 100 Kenny Rogers roasters, which makes a mockery of your one.
I don't care. Oh no.
The listeners are making you look like a clown.
80295, let us know your score for Hugh Laurie. Let's have a little palate cleanser. It's the Blockheads with Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick.